This is going to be a very disturbing story because it involves a convicted predator who found a way to slide into a tight-knit online space full of young girls and was comfortably hanging out in a community where kids jump around with wooden stick horses. The game is called hobby horsing. This sport is full of teenagers who just love what they do, which is exactly why a man named Robert Robinson went after them, and his history will just turn your stomach.
So I just ran into this girl, Janine, right? She just recently turned 18, like 2 or 3 days ago, right?
He's been doing this for 20 years. He went from MySpace in the mid-2000s all the way to modern social media, even stalking random and meeting up with them. But we are going way deeper than his criminal record today, because we are going to see exactly how he masked his identity to infiltrate these spaces, and who he was actively trying to target before the internet finally caught up to him. This isn't just about some random creepy guy in a Twitter comment section who needs to go outside and touch grass. No, this goes so much deeper than that. Robert Robinson lives up in Maine, and if you take a quick 5-minute look over at the state of Maine's official offender registry, his profile pops right up. His official record lists multiple charges that will instantly make your heart drop. Usually when someone has a record like that, they try to completely disappear. They delete their socials, change their names, and hide out. But not Robert. This man did the exact opposite. Robert decided he was going to be an online creator. If you dig into the archives, he's actually had his own personal website running since literally 1998. And what exactly is he uploading to this site? Well, he thinks of himself as an author and a guy with hobbies. He fills the web with super long rambling blog posts, he posts his personal philosophies, amateur sci-fi short stories, and long rants about his favorite fan groups. On paper, if you did not know his real-life criminal record, you would just think he is a classic, quirky, super nerdy internet guy, like he's someone who just spent way too much time on early web forums, and this was his shield. He wrapped himself in the cozy, welcoming spaces of fan culture. After all, nerd communities are known for accepting outcasts, weirdos, and people who do not fit into normal society. By putting himself right in the middle of these fan groups, Robert found a way to look like just another harmless hobby guy. But as the years went on, his interest shifted to something way more calculated, and the place where that shift became impossible to ignore was hobby horsing itself. He started showing up exactly where the girls were. He was liking their competition clips. He was commenting on their stick horse setups. To anyone scrolling fast, he just looked like another quirky adult fan of a weird sport. But the girls inside the community noticed something that the algorithm never would. One hobby horser, a girl who goes by Erin, actually reached out directly to the original creator behind this investigation to flag what she'd been seeing.
Some creepy guy, and we knew nothing about him at the time. He was reposting videos of them like jumping with their stick horses or whatever onto YouTube Shorts. So I was like, oh, okay. So I go and I check this guy out because I'm like, this is very odd. Just the captions, it was creepy stuff that was...
Yeah, a grown man reposting videos of girls jumping around with their stick horses and then captioning them with lines like, "Look how cute she is." And when you start looking at Robert's modern social media presence, especially on places like Instagram, you notice he isn't alone. Or at least he desperately wants you to think he isn't alone, which brings us to this character named May. According to Robert's endless public posts, May is his girlfriend, and she is not just his girlfriend, but his partner in crime and online defender. He spins this huge backstory about her, claiming she is a Japanese immigrant who moved to America and works as a professional hairstylist. He even links to a specific hair salon website, claiming it's her business. Now, if you're a casual viewer scrolling past, you might think, oh, okay, maybe this guy found love, whatever. But we know better. The whole thing is clearly a lie. First of all, May's website looks just like Robert's old website. It has the same clunky code and the same weird design choices, and that is red flag number 1. But red flag number 2 is where things get even crazier, because every single picture of May online is totally made by AI. I'm not even joking, guys. If you zoom in on these pictures of his fake Japanese girlfriend, you can see all the classic signs of bad AI art. But things get way weirder than that. Robert does not just use AI to make a fake girlfriend, but he also uses it to make these weird fantasy pictures. He has posted multiple AI images of himself standing next to young girls, and they're completely made to look like regular family photos or normal hangouts. It is honestly super creepy, because it shows you exactly what is going through his mind, since he is basically using technology to make up a life that his criminal record keeps him from actually having. And the way he talks about this fake girlfriend is just pure crazy. In one of his audio clips, Robert goes on this long, rambling rant where he claims that since he is dating May, he is now legally and culturally Japanese by proxy. But why would he even do all of this? And why spend hours making AI pictures of a fake girlfriend and writing fake blogs for her? Well, it is all just a big mind game, because if an old guy with a terrible past tries to slide into a young person's messages in a hobby group, people are going to notice him immediately. But if that same guy seems to have a nice, normal wife who comments on his posts and tells everyone he is a great guy, it lowers their guard, makes them feel safe when they shouldn't. They just think, oh, he can't be bad, look at his nice wife, May. And, by the way, you don't build a fake internet ghost network with a fake girlfriend just for fun. You actually do it to hunt down people. And that brings us straight to a young content creator who goes by Milana Mahanets online. She is a super popular child dance influencer, who is explicitly known to be only about 10 years old. Her page is full of exactly what you would expect from a kid who loves to dance. But if you scroll down into her comment section past all the nice messages from other kids her age, you would find Robert Robinson hanging out right there in plain sight. Robert became completely obsessed with this little girl's account, and he wasn't just leaving a quick comment to say great job either, he was leaving these weird, creepy messages that immediately looked bad to anyone else reading the thread. And his nickname for her is Pizza, and just in case you don't know what that word secretly means in these dark corners of the internet, it is incredibly dark. The word pizza here has been referring to PDF files. In one specific post, people in the comments literally called him out and told him to stop because she is only. But Robert does not back down or delete his comment, and instead, he doubles down with this absolutely sickening, crazy excuse where he claims he has a hall pass to look at her. But wait, because things get even more twisted when you see who jumps into the comment section right after him defend his creepy behavior. It is actually May.
So May Robinson says, she's adorable, nice choice of hall pass. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to have a hall pass.
Yes, his totally fake AI-generated girlfriend account suddenly logs on to tell the internet that she is not jealous of Robert's obsession with a 10-year-old dancer. And he didn't even stop at creepy comments. Robert tried to buy his way into this kid's online life when he ended up sending a random $59 digital gift straight to Milana's account during a stream. This is a classic trick where someone uses money or gifts to make a young person or the people running their page feel like they have to talk to you or give you special attention. See, if the situation with Pizza didn't completely turn your stomach, what he did next absolutely will. Because while he was busy lurking on those dance accounts, Robert was also deeply stuck in another corner of social media where he was talking to a user who went by the name Anime God. Now, Anime God was a commenter who was chatting with Robert online, and during their talks, this profile claimed they were just about to turn 18. And for a guy with Robert's specific criminal record and rules, that turning 18 milestone is exactly what he was waiting for to get around the law. So he immediately started cooking up a plan to take this online relationship into the real world by organizing a real-life meetup and buying tickets to travel all the way from Maine down to New York City to meet this person. But the universe had other plans. Local police had already been told about his online behavior and his travel plans. So before Robert could even get on his bus or train, the police stepped in and caught up with him. They confronted him about where he was going and forced him to cancel his whole trip.
So I was forced by the state police to cancel my New York trip. They said that I was trying to Anime God into having with me. Tried explaining to them multiple times that we're just friends and that she'll be 18 by July, and they said that that was still. They said it was because of talking to her before she turned 18, and they said that they can charge you with for talking to somebody under 21 because you could use the idea of buying alcohol or tobacco as a way to force someone to have with you when they don't want to. So I'm not going to New York now.
Of course, a normal person who wants to stay out of trouble would take that as a massive sign to sit down, shut up, and never look at a computer screen ever again, since the police literally just stopped you from crossing state lines to meet someone from the internet, but Robert isn't a normal person. Instead of staying home, this man decided to go to New York City anyway, completely ignoring the warning so he could make the trip down to Manhattan and record the entire thing.
This is how you flex in New York right here. Yeah, I'm just gonna park my Cybertruck. Go in, get a burrito.
If you look at his video logs from that trip, it is pure, unfiltered horror movie material. He uploaded videos with titles like Cybertruck in New York to make it look like a casual tourist vlog. But that was just the warm-up. He also posted a video titled Little Ballerina in Times Square, where his camera just locked onto a random kid dancing in public. Then he uploads another video called Ponytail in New York City, where he is literally walking right behind a young girl and filming her from behind, looking completely obsessed with her hair. And this is the exact moment where we have to talk about his crazy obsession with hair, because it connects every single piece of this crazy puzzle. Robert has this massive, deeply creepy hair fetish, and if you look closely at his fake AI girlfriend May, you can see one of the biggest slips he ever made. He posted an AI picture of May holding a very specific, unique-looking hairbrush. Cut to a few days later, and Robert uploads a real video of his actual room. And sitting right there on his desk is the exact same real-life hairbrush. He was basically using AI to bring his real-world obsession into a fake digital life. And he even uploaded videos where he openly talked about how he slept with a girl's ponytail without her consent. But as it turns out, this wasn't his first time getting caught filming girls in public. And in fact, he has been doing this for so long that his own home state literally had to rewrite their entire legal system just to deal with him. To understand just how infamous this guy is in his home state of Maine, we have to go back to 2019. Robert had a bad habit of hanging out in public spaces like parks, malls, and supermarkets, just taking photos and videos of young girls without them knowing. The local police were called on him constantly, but here was the frustrating catch. Technically, back in 2019, Maine law didn't actually stop someone from taking photos of people in a public place where there is no expectation of privacy, so the police literally had their hands tied. They would show up, look at Robert, look at the furious parents, and just say that it is incredibly creepy, but he isn't technically breaking a law. It got so bad and the community was so terrified that local politicians actually had to step in. They looked at this giant legal loophole and decided to rewrite the rules. They passed a brand new law specifically designed to make this exact type of public stalking behavior a crime. In the local community, people literally call it the Robert Robinson Law. Imagine being such a menace to society that the government had to draft a whole new law just to get you to stop filming at the grocery store. That is just next level crazy. But instead of this law making Robert realize he needed to change his life, it just triggered a massive wave of paranoia. Robert looked at the new law and looked at the police, who kept showing up to check on him, and he decided that he was the real victim here, convincing himself that the entire world was out to get him and that the police were trying to frame him. So what does he do? Well, he goes out and buys a high-tech professional body camera.
Hey guys, it's Rob. So this is my body camera channel. I'm not using the body camera to film this. So basically the reason why I've been wearing a body camera is I've been having, for months and months and months, I've been having very negative interactions with the police for nothing.
And he does not just wear it once in a while, because he actually straps this thing to his chest every single time he steps outside his front door. He starts a dedicated body cam channel on YouTube, and he begins uploading hours and hours of raw, unedited footage of his daily life. So if he goes to the gas station, he wears the body cam, and if he walks to the post office, he wears the body cam. His logic was that the camera would protect him from getting wrongfully arrested by the police. But here's the ultimate crazy twist of this whole situation. Robert's brain is so deeply messed up that he does not even realize what he is putting out there. He genuinely thought he was saving proof of police harassment when in reality, he was just providing the internet with a non-stop, super clear map of his weird daily routines. Of course, it was only a matter of time before someone used his very own video files to look closely at the background and find out exactly where he slept at night.
I only really need to write a police statement. There's these people online who are planning to park a box truck outside of my apartment and display my under stuff.
The boiling point happened when Robert made a massive mistake on his Instagram stories. He uploaded a casual photo taken from inside his apartment. Photo itself was creepy enough on its own because it featured a view of a window, and sitting right there on the ledge was what looked like a real black hand. Now remember his criminal record from earlier. As a convicted criminal with his specific past, Robert is legally blocked from ever owning any kind of, and doing this is a massive federal crime that can put you away for a long time. People looked closely at that photo and noticed the specific shape of the window frame, the angle of the sunlight, and the brick pattern of the building directly across the street. So they put the screenshots, the Google Maps links, and the photo into a clean file and sent it straight to the local police department. They thought it was a perfect open and shut case where a criminal has a and the police can go end this right now. But that hits a huge, frustrating wall. The police received the report, and they looked at the data, but then they did basically nothing at all. There was no immediate raid, no arrest, and no follow-up after the report went in. It was an incredibly discouraging moment for everyone who had been tracking him. It showed the painful gap between internet justice and the way things actually work with real-world police. Meanwhile, the guy who thought he was a hunter was literally getting hunted himself. Let's start with his messages with an account named Kat, because this is where his whole plan starts to fall apart. So Robert started talking to an account named Kat. In his own twisted mind, he was fully sure he had successfully fooled another young girl. He immediately starts using his usual tricks to get close to her, trying to build a secret relationship, asking for photos, and trying to set up real-life meetups. But as the chat logs keep going day after day, the math completely stops working. Kat starts messaging him about flight plans, messy travel schedules, and out-of-nowhere money requests that make zero sense for a kid living down the street. Robert actually thinks he is a super smart genius, so he starts to suspect that he is the one getting played. He literally sits at his keyboard, opens his notes app, and tries to calculate the flight times just to prove that Kat is lying to him.
Someone is screwing with me, right? So this girl has been talking to me, right? And things aren't adding up. She said that she's flying to Maine, but the math didn't line up, right?
And the funniest part of this whole thing is that he was totally right. He was so completely blinded by his obsession that he became an easy target for a group of professional money scammers from overseas. But while he was busy losing his mind over his failed internet romance with Kat, he was also running an even darker plan right in his own town. Robert was actively making up 3 brand new fake teenagers to get inside local youth groups right down the street. First, there was Amanda, who claims to be 18, with a stick horse profile picture. Then there was Courtney, who is also 18, and he even made a third profile belonging to a character who is supposed to be only 16 years old. He didn't just write up basic profile descriptions either. Robert spent hours feeding prompts into AI generators to cook up real-looking photos for these girls, even making fake pictures of them at the grocery store. He even made a creepy AI photo of a fake mall date, just to make it look like Amanda and Courtney were normal local teenagers hanging out with their friends. Armed with these fake faces, he used the accounts to quietly slip his way into local youth-heavy group chats and Discord servers, explicitly targeting students who went to John Baptist High School, right there in Bangor, Maine. Can you imagine how wrong that is? You're a high school student talking to your classmates about homework, weekend plans, or hobbies, and then Amanda joins the chat looking totally real, talking like a teenager, and blending right into the background. But slowly and carefully, the conversation starts to change. This grown man, sitting in his apartment just a few streets away from the school, begins using these fake accounts to push the chat toward his deepest obsessions. He starts asking the students super weird questions about their hair length, the hairbrushes they use, and how they style it. Then he starts dropping details about his own apartment building, just trying to get these kids curious enough to text him in private messages. He was so deeply lost in his own lies that Robert actually started writing a long romance story on his public blog called Threads of Serenity. This wasn't just a regular hobby story, guys. This whole thing was a fantasy where he wrote about himself hanging out with these exact fake profiles, putting his real thoughts right online. It was basically a scary public diary hidden inside a fake fanfiction story. But then, when you build a web of lies that big and messy, the whole thing is bound to come crashing down. The big slip-up happened right on Robert's main public Instagram page. He was trying to show off a screenshot to his followers, and right there, out in the open for the entire internet to see, was what directly linked his main account straight to the fake 16-year-old's page, showing everyone by his own mistake that he was the actual monster hiding behind those high school pages. And people online did not waste a single second. Within hours, people didn't have to guess anymore because they finally had the receipts. They reported the fake accounts and the AI pages all at once in a massive wave. So Instagram ended up deleting 35 separate pages in one single sweep, and his whole fake teenager network disappeared almost overnight. And since the police did not do much about a convicted criminal with a gun in his window, the internet decided to handle it. But the twist here is that the people who finally caught up with Robert were not even from Maine, and they traveled hundreds of miles just to find him. Enter a group called Predator Poachers Long Island, or PP Long Island for short, and they had Robert Robinson directly in their sights. They set up a fake page pretending to be a young kid. Robert, thinking he was sliding into the messages of another young girl to talk about hair, hobbies, and meetups, walked right into the trap, and he agreed to meet up in person. The guy doesn't even wear a disguise, and he is just walking around in broad daylight, completely clueless that his whole world is about to come crashing down. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the main guy for the sting, a guy named Douglas King Jr., who goes by Mike, steps right into Robert's path.
Again, I'm Douglas King Jr. I'm sorry.
I don't want to touch
Okay, you don't have to. You know, so... I know, I'm sorry, I understand this.
She followed me, and she said she lived in California. So I was like, whatever, it doesn't hurt.
I know, don't worry, it's okay. We're not here to go.
Am I getting arrested?
No, we're not police.
Mike pulls out a camera, brings his team closer, and starts reading off the receipts right there in the middle of the street. Now, usually when these guys get caught, they do one of two things. They either start crying and begging for mercy, or they run away as fast as they can. But Robert just stands there. He is so completely lost in his own world that he genuinely thinks he can talk his way out of a literal predator sting. But as Mike and the crew keep the cameras rolling, they start hitting Robert with the hardest proof they have, especially the AI pictures he had been making and sending to the fake account.
like photos of us hanging out. And
Yeah, and like kind of kissing.
Yeah.
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 So-
I do that a lot with a lot of people, and it wasn't. It looks similar to her, but it isn't actually.
No, I know it's not. I know you guys never met in person.
While trying to defend his behavior, he suddenly brings up something that happened all the way back in 2006, and he starts rambling about his old MySpace page. He admits on camera that 20 years ago, when he was a 22-year-old grown man living down in Brunswick, Maine, he got into a relationship with a girl who was only...
And did you guys have once or?
3 times.
My gosh.
Wow, okay.
One night.
Oh wow, okay.
So I was charged 3 separate times.
Damn.
He even tries to claim that he is actually the victim of internet culture, complaining to the Sting group that people are constantly targeting him with romance scams and online harassment. And honestly, he is probably right about the scam part, because he is so desperate to talk to the young pages that overseas money scammers probably trick him every single week. But being the victim of a money scam does not change the fact that you're actively trying to meet up with kids in a brick plaza. When Robert finds out they have all his online files, he completely freaks out, and in pure panic, he just throws his phone straight into the water. He honestly thought that by breaking the phone, he was deleting all the proof, which is just like little kid logic where if you can't see something, it is not there. But all he really did was ruin a perfectly good phone and look super guilty on camera. Eventually, the shouting stops. A crowd starts to gather, and the local police finally show up.
There, I'm a detective here at Bangor Police Department.
Hi, Shannon.
So my understanding is that you guys have a Google Drive that's got a bunch of evidence on it.
Yeah.
And if you thought this was the moment he finally went to jail, get ready to be mad, because the officers just let him walk away right then and there.
So I'm just curious why he was like, let go.
Well, because everything that you're telling me is your word.
Well,
Right?
I mean, we could show you the live. Like we have clips.
And we also have clips too.
Yeah, so we have to there's rules of evidence that we have to follow, so we have to take the time to review the evidence and to figure out whether or not this is a case that can be prosecuted before we just go arresting people.
But the trouble from this sting did not stay on the internet, because it actually started a huge local move right in Robert's own neighborhood. Right after the video went live, Mike and Emma started a project to warn everyone. They made a paper flyer called Dear Robert Robinson and printed out thousands of copies. This paper showed his whole criminal record, his recent stalking habits, and it even had a big scan code that linked straight to his online proof file. They went all through the streets, taping these papers on poles, grocery store boards, and right outside his apartment building. It was a smart way to mess with his head. They even chose not to film the flyer handout live because they were worried Robert might try to fight them, since he is known to act crazy and has made strange threats around his neighborhood. And all that pressure worked because within 2 days, his whole online world started closing in on him. Robert's main Instagram page was deleted, his Twitter went dark, and his main YouTube channel was completely taken down. Now he is totally alone, and he is stuck inside his apartment while the entire town around him knows exactly who he is and what he has done. The law might be slow and the rules can be super bad, but if this story proves anything, it is that the internet community will always keep receipts.